Hey everybody, this is Liam Martin from Running Road, and in today's video we are going to be talking about something that I've been trying to put together for quite a few weeks to maybe even months now. This is my ultimate remote work or digital nomad workstation. Let's do it. Okay, so I want to go through all of the things that I currently have on my desk right now. I have a ton of different devices that end up really making my life a lot more efficient when I work remotely and when I'm not inside of an office. So I want to go through all of these things. I think it takes a little bit of explanation to kind of show you the ins and outs of everything. Number one, you always have to have coffee with you whenever. It's super critical for your overall productivity. That's step one. Costs you about $2 at Starbucks. But let's get into all of these other tools. So the first tool, which is really the core of this entire system, is the MacBook Pro. So MacBook Pro, love them or hate them, they're very expensive. They are sometimes very difficult to repair, but they are still what I use day in, day out. A lot of the company uses MacBook Pros as well. I opted for one, I believe it's from 2017 or 2016. It was the absolute top tier model for that particular year, but I also include a 3-year guarantee on the MacBook. So I have 3 years of coverage. I'm just lapsing on that. If I was gonna probably do this again, I wouldn't go with a MacBook. I've had to replace this MacBook 4 to 5 times, meaning there's been serious work, like I've had to replace the screen or I've had to completely replace the computer. And that's a big headache if you are traveling as a digital nomad or if you're traveling as a remote worker for a few months. Because for me, if I'm out of work for a day, I probably am costing the money at least $1,000 a day, just in terms of operational problems that would go on without me being there. So it's really critical that we have a proper functioning piece of equipment that I would do the vast majority of my work on. Since I primarily work remotely, I have an Apple store that's a 6-minute walk from where I'm currently at. I can go in there and they've looked at the laptop for about 5 minutes and then completely given me a new one right off the bat, which is really fantastic. So their repair and exchange program is amazing. However, mine's lapsing pretty soon, so I'm concerned about the next repair that's actually going to end up happening with this laptop. With that said, it's absolutely beautiful, amazing piece of machinery. To go onto it, since everything is USB Type-C now, everyone has to enter Dongleville. So I have this little dongle. I've gone through about 3 of these and I've learned my lesson, which is this is the Apple version of the dongle. It has a regular USB Type-A port, a USB-C pass-through port, and then an HDMI port. And on the USB-A port, I have a mini SD little, I don't know what you call this thing, scan disc, little card reader that I have plugged in here. And this is very expensive. This is not a good expenditure of money, but at Running Remote 2018, I had a off version, like a third-party version of a dongle. And because it was 35-degree weather in the jungle, the dongle didn't work. And thankfully, Dimitri, who is the co-founder and CTO of GitLab, saved my butt by actually allowing us to borrow his Apple version. So I ended up buying the Apple version, and this one has worked without any problem whatsoever. whatsoever. So think about where you want to be. I think that one is about $100. You can probably get a third-party dongle for about $20, but expect to replace them because they seem to burn out after a year or two. Next to that, I have the MX Master 3 mouse. I've talked about this mouse before in a previous video, but this is probably one of the best mice you can buy if you are traveling a lot and working. It is incredibly smooth. The trackpad or the track wheel has some type of amazing capability I've never even encountered before. It's almost like it's just like spinning on air, but it works beautifully and it's very, very precise. And it has a whole bunch of programmable keys, which is also very cool. Works on USB Type-C like everything else that I have in this work setup. Also, you can choose 3 different devices. So I can actually connect this directly to my iPad if I want, and I can work directly from the iPad with this mouse. So really cool. Highly suggest you pick up the MX Master 3 and throw it in your bag. I also have the Oura ring, which is the ring that I use for all of my sleep tracking and activity tracking. Lasts a couple weeks on a single charge. It actually has a very small charging puck that you can also throw in your bag and then charge it whenever you need to. But it's really good to be able to measure how efficiently you're sleeping, which you'd think is not that important, but is absolutely critical if you're going to be productive while you work remotely and/or as a digital nomad. Don't go out drinking till 4 o'clock in the morning. You're gonna be paying for that for the next couple days. The Oura ring will show you exactly how much you're paying for going out till 4 a.m. and drinking on a Friday night. It's really, really quite bad. Next to that, on the other side of the table, I have the Anker PowerCore 26,045 watt. And this is a battery that I had a previous version of and it ended up getting stolen, so I've bought it again. However, they've improved this version. So this one gives you 45 watts of power, which basically charges a MacBook Pro. So if you plug this in, you're probably going to get like 13 to 14 hours of power from a MacBook Pro, which is amazing. It charges a MacBook Pro 1.5 times, but it also charges all of my other devices because it's USB-C compatible. So it charges the mouse, my phone, my iPad, everything through this single connector. And if you have this fully charged, you can be on a 32-hour flight without any problem, and there won't be any issue. Connected to that, I have this charger. This is a 60-watt charger from Anker, which means it will completely charge my MacBook Pro and my iPad and my phone and my mouse. So one single connector, which is about half the size and maybe a quarter of the weight of a MacBook charger, is going to charge absolutely everything that I have here. So for me, that's a fantastic investment because that means I've lost another £1.50 off of my travel bag. Next to that, I have the Lacy hard drive. It's a 5 terabyte hard drive. It's one of those old school ones. It's not an SSD, but for me, the reason why I got this is it's very ruggedized. So it's something that I can run around with and I can take footage from this camera, put it inside of this Lacy drive, and I know that it's not going to break on me. I think they also have like an amazing exchange program. So if anything happens, you actually just send that hard drive into Lacy and then they take all the data out of it and they give you a new one. And I believe it's about a 5-year guarantee on that. I also have a Pixel 2, I believe it is. It's not something that is necessarily the most up-to-date phone in the world, but I really like the Android ecosystem for Google Apps integrations. And since all of the company runs on Google Apps, this is a really great phone to tell me what I need to do and when I need to be there and when meetings are going to be happening. And then next to that, I have the iPad Pro 11-inch. And this was something that I ended up spending a lot of time thinking about as to whether or not I really wanted to buy it. It was something that I thought to myself, man, this is a very expensive piece of machinery. Why should I end up buying something that is so incredibly expensive? However, the thing that's really cool about this iPad is recently the newest operating system for Mac has actually allowed you, there's this extra edition called Crossover or Sidecar, where you can extend a second monitor to your iPad. So now I can actually have two separate monitors for any time that I'm working remotely outside of my regular desktop setup, which I can show you in a later video. So I can literally go in, have a second monitor, I can do work, improve my productivity with that secondary monitor. And the other thing that's really cool is with the Apple Pencil, I can literally take PDFs, I can pull them over to a iPad, to the iPad that I currently have, literally write my name and sign something on it, and then send that off to somebody for approval. So I usually have to do this like 5 to 6 times a month. It's a real hassle. And what I was doing in the past was I was taking that PDF, printing it, finding a guy that will actually print it for me if I'm not directly in my office or close to my own printer, then signing it, re-scanning it, and then sending it off. And that was like probably a half-hour to 1-hour job every single time I had to do it. It was a huge annoyance. Now it's probably like a 10-second job. So super powerful stuff. I think that it's something that, for me at least, I was really apprehensive about getting an iPad Pro, but with the sidecar capabilities, it's a game changer for me. So that's my setup. I'd love to know what's inside of your remote work or digital nomad setup. Do you agree with my current work desktop here? Do you disagree with it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, please like this video. It helps out the algorithm quite a bit and helps the channel grow. And if you really like this video, why don't you subscribe to this YouTube channel? It's completely free, and we talk about nerdy remote work stuff all day long. See you later.